So today we're doing equations from 2 points. It's actually equations from 2 points. So I'm going to review what we know already about equations. Okay. So number one, we can do equations from a graph. And remember, we have to find our m, we have to find what our b is. So we take a look here. This is our b, which is 2. Okay. I'm going to redo this in red. Our m, if we take a look here, where is a good point? Right here. Right? We make a little triangle like so. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So -5 and over 2. So our rise over run is -5 over 2. Then we put it into our equation. Y equals -5 over 2 x, x plus 2. We all know how to do that already. Okay, so that's one way we can find the equation. The other way we've learned is by using a table of values. So we have our m. Once again, we have our b, and then we go from there. Now our b is when x is 0, we know our y-intercept is 1. And then for slope, or rise over run, or rate of change, -1 minus -3 equals 2, because these end up in a positive. And this is -3 minus -6, which equals 3, because this ends up in a positive. So we know that this is rise over run. So it's 2 over 3. And then we can make our equation. Y equals 2 over 3 x plus 2. So we know how to do this already. Okay? And we actually did quite well on it in the last quiz. So let's push ourselves a little further. Now, here's another way to do it. So it's kind of 4 ways altogether we can make an equation. So this says find the equation of a given slope. Let's find the equation of a line, right? So equation of a line is y equals mx plus b. When given a slope and a point. For example, find the equation of a line with a slope of 3 and a point of -1, 2. So what I like to do is I write out what I know. These are all the things I need for an equation of a line. So it tells me our slope, right? It tells me slope right here. So that's my m value. So that's going to equal -3. It also gives you a point, right? If we remember, that's a point that consists of an x and a y. So we're going to fill this in here with these 2 spots. So our x value is -1, so that equals -1, and our y is 2. So that leaves b as our only missing thing. And since we only have one missing, we can use some algebra to solve for it. So let's go through here. Y equals mx plus b. Let's plug in everything we know. Well, we know y is 2. We know m is -3. We know x is -1, but we don't know b. Right? So let's continue with our math. We go 2 equals -1 times -3 is 3 plus b. Let's move this over. 2 minus 3 equals b. So b equals -1. So now we can take that over here and plug it in for -1 there. Now we have the two most important things. For equation of a line, we need an m and we need a b. So we can go back to and fill in our equation. Y equals blank x plus blank. In this case, it's going to be -3 minus 1. I'll get rid of this plus so it doesn't confuse us. So that is how we solve for when we have a slope and we have a point. We're going to practice this a couple more times. But we take a look, we write down everything we have, then we solve for our unknown piece. So let's do one more of those. I'm going to skip down here. This one's the same, but it's a little bit different. This one here, find the equation of a line passing through the point 4, 5 with an x-intercept. Oh shoot. I'm going to change that to a y-intercept. Let's do this one. Find the equation of a line passing through the point 4, 5 with a y-intercept of 3. Okay. We haven't done x and y-intercepts yet, so I'm not too worried about the first one there. So let's write down everything we know. Y, m, x, b. So what do we know? Well, this is a point. So that's x and y. So that means our x equals 4 and our y equals 5. And a y-intercept of 3. So that leaves this as our unknown. So if we write the equation y equals, I'm going to make the unknown red just so it stands out, mx plus b. So that's what we have to solve for. So let's plug in everything we know. So 5 equals, we'll leave our m there, and our x is 4, plus 3. Let's rearrange now. I'm going to move that over there. So we got 5 minus 3 equals, I'm just going to move the 4 in front because we're used to seeing stuff like this, 4m. So it's a positive over here becomes a negative. 5 minus 3 is 2 equals 4m. And if you remember when we get here, this moves over and we becomes a divide. You always divide by the coefficient. So m, once we reduce it, equals a half. Therefore, our m is a half. And here we have our m, we have our b. So we can go back to our equation, y equals blank x plus blank. We put in our equation, we put in our slope here, and we put in our y-intercept there. Okay? So those are how we tackle when we're just missing one thing. Where they give us something and they give us a slope. We have to find the y-intercept, or in this case, they give us the y-intercept, and they have to give us a slope. So now for the other one. The one says, find the equation given 2 points. Find the equation of a line that passes through the points 4, 3, and 7, 9. Okay, so I'm going to take us back to this. Actually, I'm going to show you the equation first. So when you get this equation, when you get this, you have to use this equation. So our change is going to be equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Now, this may seem confusing, but we've already done this in the sense that if we take a look up here, we've already essentially done this of y2 over y1. So I'm going to write the equation up here. I'm going to color code it. y2 minus y1, right, over x2 minus x1. If you go backwards here, y's indicate the rise, and X's indicate the run. So if we take a look at what we did here, I'm just going to label these 2 points here, okay? As in, this is our point 1, this is point 1, and this here would be point 2. Then I'm going to go through and say, okay, this is x2, this is y2, this is, oops, I did that wrong. I want to go back here. I got my points mixed up for how we did it. This is point 2, this is point 1. So this one here is x1, because it's point 1 and it's the x. This would be y1, this would be x2, this would be y2. So if I were to take these and plug them into our equation up here, I would get -1 minus -3 over -3 minus -6. And if you look here, this here matches what I did there, and this here matches what we did there. So we're not learning anything new, we're just taking what we've done in a table of values and then just creating a little formula out of it. And this, of course, would equal 2 over 3, just as we found here. So there's nothing new that we're doing. We're just learning it, applying it in a new context. So this is how I go at these ones. I pick either one of these points to be point 1, either one of these points to be point 2. Just because I like to, I pick the first one I see as point 1. I'm then going to label it x1, y1. And this one's going to be x2, y2. Then I'm going to plug it into my formula. So y2 is 9. 9 minus 3, right? So 9 minus 3 over 7 minus 4, which is going to equal a really ugly number. Oh no, 6 over 3, which is going to equal 2. And this tells us our m, so our slope, right? So this tells us our slope. So we now know our slope is 2. And then we're right back to the example right above us, where we have, we're going to list everything out. So we right now know our m is 2. Perfect. Do we know an x and y point? Well, yeah, we do. We have these x and y points over here. So we're going to pick one of them to plug in. So I'm going to pick this one, the 4 over 3. So that means this is 4, this is 3, and we don't know this. So we go back to our original equation. We plug everything in we know. That equals 3, that equals 2, this equals 4, and we don't know what b is. Then we go back and we go, okay, 3 equals 8 plus b. We're going to move that over. 3 minus 8 equals b. So -5 equals b. -5. And then we have the two things we need for our equation, an m value and a b value. Then we plug it into our equation. Y equals 2x minus 5. And there's our final answer. Just like that. So let's do one more of those. Okay. So we know that m equals y2, rise, the change in rise. Another way to look at this, you might see it in this form, is delta y over delta x. And that just means the change in y over the change in x. This would be the change in y. This here's the change of x. So I like to go back and label my points. So I use this as x1. This one here is y1. This is x2, and this is y2. So So y2 is -5 minus 1 over -2 minus -3. So here's where I got the -5 from, y2 minus 1. Okay, that equals -6, and that's going to equal a plus. So -2 plus 3 is 1. So we know our m, very so often doesn't like the right, is 6. So then I'm going to go down here and I write everything I need to know. So y equals mx plus b. So I know this is -6. Then I'm going to pick a point here. I'm going to pick this one. I don't like both negative numbers if I can keep positive numbers. So my point I'm going to use is -3, comma 1. So that means that's my x, that's my y, -3, and I don't know this. So I write out my equation. Y equals, and I plug everything in and out. -6 times -3 plus b. I realize I forgot this, equals 1. So 1 equals -18 plus b. And move that over. 1 plus 18 equals b. Therefore, 19 equals b. I go back and fill that in. I have the two things I need. I got my m, I got my b. I can write my equation. Y equals blank x plus blank. What's going in there? -6 plus 19 is my answer. Okay. So a couple things you need to remember. If you have 2 points, you do this equation, and then you solve for what's unknown. If they don't give you 2 points and they give you a point with a slope or a y-intercept, you write everything out, you solve for your unknown. Okay? Have fun with your practice.